from the Highlands Ranch office. Thanks for being here. Big round of applause for Mike Anderson. Your last, make it good, no pressure.
I've often wondered if these chairs were strong enough to support me. I'm sitting out there, I look at this chair, and like, there's one little thing on the back. You know, so if I look fidgety, I'm terrified this thing is going to collapse. We're embarrassing people.
We're hoping for a viral moment. Speaking of social media video, we're kind of hoping for a viral moment right now. Okay, so for those of you guys that don't know Mike, Mike is in the Highlands Ranch office, and I don't know of anybody more committed to the Buffini system than Mike is. In fact, to the point where Mike is now leading a group, 100 Days to Greatness group in the Highlands Ranch office, which is amazing. You guys are still going, right?
Yeah.
And I love that. And I think part of why you do it isn't just because you love mentoring and leading, but I feel like you also get something out of it too. So 2 things I want to talk to you about. One is why 100 Days to Greatness, why Buffini, but then I also want to talk about the event that you did just a couple nights ago. And for a lot of us, this is going to rank right up there with cold calls, like stick a fork in my eye before you ask me to do what Mike did a few nights ago. But it killed it, right? I mean, you had a really, really good response to a first-time buyer seminar. And I'm going to talk a little bit too about why I think that's successful and feed a little bit into, is Lou Ricks here?
No.
No, okay. Well, I'll mention Lou and why he's seen success in some of the things he's doing. But first, Mike, why Buffini? Why by referral? How'd you get into it, and what's the event?
So I started at Remax Professionals in 2014, and I was a buyer agent on the Weimer team, for anyone who remembers that. And one day we were at an office meeting, and leaving the meeting, there was a little stand-up, like acrylic 8.5 by 11 of a peak producers class, and it said like our average agent makes whatever they advertised at the time, $260,000 a year. And I didn't get into real estate specifically because I knew like the numbers of what some people were doing, but I had never seen anything like that. So I pointed at it to Gary and I said, "That's bullshit." And and he said, "No, it's actually not. That system works for a lot of people." And I set out to prove it wrong. So I joined Peak Producers that year. 2015 was the class, and I said, I'm going to do every little thing that they tell me to do. I'm going to step outside my comfort zone, and I'm going to do it so that I can be the living example of why that crap doesn't work. And unfortunately, it proved me wrong. So, you know, it worked for me in a way that I had never really connected before. And sure, I find things in the system that I have to make my own, like they talk about mayor campaign and asking for referrals. I have my way that I do that because I'm not comfortable with the way Brian says a lot of things. And I hear that a lot.
Charismatic Irishman.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of people yeah, they receive his charm a lot differently. If I said the same things, they'd be like, what are you talking about? Yeah. So, you know, I set out to prove it wrong, and it proved me wrong. And so learning how that system works and having a lot of success with it was like, okay, well, you know, I'm onto something here, and I'm going to keep growing within that system. I now am in leadership coaching with Buffini & Company, and really enjoy that system. We just got done with the advanced course on Pathway to Mastery. I'm just a big believer in those systems, and I'm a big believer in coaching. I think if you step outside of what got you where you are, you can get to a level higher. Because the person who gets you to 24 transactions a year, you have to be someone different if you want to get to 36. It's not this upward trajectory that just keeps going up if you're doing all the same things all the time.
Yeah. So talk about real quickly, what is it from the Buffini system that resonates with you, and how are you applying that? And then what do you mean by becoming a different person? I mean, like I get that, I understand what you mean by that, but explain a little bit about how you had to change to go from 12 to 24 to 36.
So, what was the first part of that? Like, what do I do in the system?
Well, how does the system resonate with you? Why Buffini? Why the referral system?
The Buffini system resonates with me because it's very relationship based, and so am I. And so we're primarily focused on staying in touch with and staying in front of our people consistently. And I think if you you can put together the very basics of the system at its core, you're staying in front of people, you're showing them that you're competent in what you do, and then you're showing them that they can trust you. And with a purchase like we help people with most of the time, or a sale like we help people with, those are 3 core elements. Are you good at what you do? Can I trust you? And do you care about me? So it teaches you how to deliver on those 3 things.
And then accountability to those things too, right? I mean, tracking and accountability.
Yeah, tracking and accountability has revolutionized that for us.
Yeah. So talk now about the change. I mean, what had to change in you going from 12 to 24 to 36 and now well beyond?
I think whenever you have like a level that you want to get to, you have to contextualize the problem in, and then reverse engineer. What does it look like to sell 50 homes a year? Take your current conversion of leads and then do the multiplication and say, okay, well, sales is a contact sport, so if I want to get to that level, I'm going to need to sell 50, I'm going to need X amount of leads, whatever, based on whatever conversion rate you have. And to get that amount of leads, that requires X amount of contacts. You make it a little bit of a numbers game. I'm not the greatest person with numbers, but the basics of that makes a lot of sense to me. For us, it's typically 20 contacts, one form or another with our database leads to 1 referral. Around 2 referrals for every closing for whatever various reasons. And so if you reverse engineer the math and then you put that in front of yourself, you say, okay, well here's the skeleton of my contact plan for the year. Then you kind of just work for that.
So it's setting yourself up and making sure you understand, if I really do want to get to that level, here's what I need to expect in my daily activities, my connections with my sphere, the size of my sphere, right?
Yeah.
Feeny said years and years ago, every person in your sphere that you can communicate consistently with is worth $1,000, right? So if you have 40 people that you're communicating effectively with throughout the year, you can count on $40,000 in gross commission income from that group, right? 40,000 isn't going to cut it for most of us. So if you have 40 people, first you need to start communicating effectively, but you need to be adding people to your sphere and get to the point where your sphere is maybe 240, right? 340 people that you're communicating effectively with. And how do you do that? How do you, again, reverse engineer and create the systems and the activities that achieve results? Because we all work hard and we expect, well, I'm now in this for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, I should be doing more. But I've got the same 40 people in my database, the math doesn't work, right? The reverse engineering part of it doesn't work. Okay, now.
You're also, by the way, you're going to come to a problem pretty quickly where you've maxed out your time.
Yeah.
You say, okay, I have all these people, I have my contact plan, I can only stay in so much time with a small amount of people, and once I have a big enough amount of people, I don't have time for that. So again, then you're presented with a different problem. How do I start, and this is kind of a level that we're at the moment, is how do we focus on really bringing more people into the sphere and then finding new ways to attract business from them outside of just the care, contact, and community systems.
That's really good. Okay. So now, on to the next part of the subject that I'm really excited to hear from you.
The next part's the answer.
Yes. So the reason I brought up Lou Royston, Lou brought up a really interesting point to me. Lou said, Brett, I've never seen open houses as effective as they are right now in my career. And Lou's been in the business a long time. And I'm like, why? And he said, I think maybe I figured it out. There are so many agents that over the past year have just stopped communicating with their sphere. There's a whole bunch of people out there that don't know who to talk to. They don't feel like they have someone that they can trust. So they're walking into open houses completely unrepresented, and not just unrepresented in the moment, like to buy that house, but they just don't feel like they have a relationship with an agent that they can trust, right? Because communication with so many agents has just stopped. And he said, I think my open houses are so much more effective because people are walking in looking for someone that they can trust, right? Fast forward to the conversation that we just had. So tell us about the event, why you decided to do it. You've done it before, this isn't the first one. But yeah, tell us a little bit about the event, how you pulled it off, who you invited, and why you think it was so successful.
So this was the first time home buyer event. We do one of these every February. It's successful for us because we try and target people we know and leverage relationships that we have, and so does the lender that we partner with. So we are not inviting the general public by and large. We do a Facebook invite and we do a Facebook event, we promote that. But that's going to bring in the lowest quality lead with the least amount of trust in you and who you are. It's the biggest skeptic in the room. They'll never fill out a follow-up card. I mean, those are just really hard people to convert. So we focus on, you have relationships with people throughout the year that are like, hey, I met you through so-and-so, and you know, now it's been 3 months, you talked about maybe buying a house one day. Where are we on that? So you have those people in your database already that aren't homeowners yet. So we focus on really converting them. That's what February is all about. So February is a great time for it, I think. I mean, anytime early in the year, because that's what people are building their plan on for the year, especially renters. It's like, what am I doing when this lease is up? So we have a running list of people, whether it's in our head. You can look literally at you should have a database in some kind of CRM. Just go down person by person. It's not that much time to go down and say, who does this apply to if we do this? We do a lot of seminars, by the way, it's not just first-time buyer. But so you check off who that seminar applies to, and then you invite everybody that it applies to, and you talk to them and leverage about it. But that also gave me stuff to talk about at Super Bowl parties that I was at, was, hey, we have this first-time home buyer seminar coming up. I think if you're thinking about buying a home in the next 3 years, it's probably something you really need to consider, because a lot of people don't know how close they really are. A lot of people also don't know what's required of them once they decide to become a homeowner. So,
what's the value proposition to that person? I mean, what are they going to walk away with leaving the home buyer seminar?
you're going to feel armed and ready. You're not going to feel like it's this arduous and confusing process anymore. You're going to feel like, when the time is right and I'm convinced that that's something that I want to do, I'm ready.
Yeah. And how many people did you guys invite? Do you have a number? Do you know how many people you invited?
We invited around 60 that we actually worked really hard to get. We had 35 people attend, and most, I think all but one couple filled out the follow-up cards for us. We just stressed at the end, like, hey, this is really important. It's important that you capture the results of an event like that if you're going to do it. So we had them fill out a little card. It's like, what was your favorite part about this seminar? What was your least favorite part? Is there anything you think we should include next time? Are there any questions that you currently have? And then at the very bottom, it's 2 boxes to check. I'm ready to buy a home and start the pre-qualification process. And then the next one is, what is their timeline? And it's 1 to 2 years, 2 to 4 years, 5 years plus, or please leave me alone. Some version of that. So we always want to make sure there's a call to action. Don't host an event if you're not comfortable with a call to action. You just gave these people around an hour's worth of awesome free content. If you deliver on stuff for people, and we kind of do it up, we have drinks and food for them. So
Where'd you hold it?
we had ours at the Sportsbook in Highlands Ranch. We spent about $750. We have 6 people that were very confident, 6 transactions coming out of that we're very confident are going to happen within the next 12 months.
That is awesome. Follow up to each of the people. So you had 35 people show up, you invited 65, so your attendance is more than 50% of those that you've worked really hard to invite, which is ridiculous. So now I showed up, I filled out a card, I'm thinking of buying in the next year or so. Now what? Do you put me on a search property alert so that I'm receiving stuff from you consistently? What's the follow-up?
Definitely no property search until they're pre-qualified, but I always follow up with everybody that comes the following day, and that follow-up is very simple. It's, hey, this is Mike Anderson, thanks so much for coming to our seminar last night. Do you have any follow-up questions outside of what you put on your card? Maybe go through a question or two. Most of them said no or didn't answer the phone. The voicemail was a little bit different, but you just follow up and say hey, is there any next step that you require right now of me? And if not, then it's basic, hey, I'm going to make sure that we stay in touch with you, and we're always available to answer questions, but you're also going to get invited to cool free events that we do too. So you're going to be on a list for us for client parties. We like to get with our people and have a lot of fun, and now you get to come to that stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think that's it. Great job, man. Cool. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate it.